it is time to regular sessions. So first session is mine. So I will change name tag from staff to speaker. Okay, let's start. Hello everyone. My presentation title is Your Vim is Only for You. At first, I introduce myself. My name is mopp. Also, GitHub ID is the same as. Usually, I use this icon. And I am interested in Vim, hobby operating system, and self-published technical books. As you know, I have worked as MC on VimConf 2019 and 18 and this year. Also, I'm a software engineer at Clipper Limited Japan branch since this June. So I work remotely for 3 days in a week, and I worked at Meguro Tokyo office for 2 days in a week. In my team, we use Elixir, Go, and Ruby on Rails. So the right photo is 3 members from Clipper, and the other 2 guys will talk in this regular session. Okay, let's begin to talk. The first part is introduction. So the target of my talk is middle-level Vimmer. I assume that the middle-level Vimmer is person who has Vimmercy with hundreds of lines and is not so familiar with Vim script, and who does not hesitate to open Vimmercy frequently. Maybe I believe my level is here because I have customized Vim for 7 years, and I have used many plugins, and I sometimes send patch to plugin. Okay, let's review the theme of this year. So that is how to be more productive with Vim. I have interpreted it as increasing to write codes with Vim more effectively. So there are 3 ways, I think. The first one is to master default Vim, and the default means here no configs and no plugins. Default Vim has many features, but it is unhandy sometimes. And the second way is to customize Vim myself. We can modify its code and send a patch, but it is also not so easy. And the last way is to customize Vim by Vimmercy. My talk focuses on this way. The customizability of Vim is very high. So you can customize looks and behavior and create new command, function, and mapping by writing Vimmercy. At the end of the introduction, themes of this talk are to increase productivity by Vimmercy, to overcome Vimmercy, which has many copy and paste, and to like Vim more and more. Here is the outline of this talk. I talked about the introduction so far. Next, I will talk about my Vim. And then I describe how do I grow Vimmercy. And last, I summarize this talk. Okay, let's go to next. And from now, I will show you how do I increase productivity by my Vimmercy through policies and configs and plugins. And you can find my Vimmercy on GitHub. The number of lines is 103,000 lines currently. So let me talk about my Vimmercy. Here is my policy. The first policy is that shorter start time is better, because I open and close Vim many times in a day, and the shorter startup time doesn't distract me. As a result, I can focus on my work more. And then I have used plugin manager dying-nvim to install and update plugins. Dying-nvim provides us lazy loading feature. It postpones loading plugin files until by the time when the file type matches, when we run specific mapping or function or commands. And I have used 108 plugins. So please look at the right figure. It shows startup time of default NeoVim, and my NeoVim with lazy loading, and my NeoVim without lazy loading. So these are under 200 milliseconds. So these are very fast enough. However, the time without lazy loading is 27.5 times slower than the default NeoBeam. While the time with lazy loading is 3.7 times slower. I put the screencast at the bottom, but it's a little bit hard to understand which one is faster. But you can realize its power of lazy loading if you use. And the second policy is portability. The portability here means that Vim does not cause any error without plugin installation. So please assume when you finish installing operating system such as Arch Linux, or you log in your server and would you like to work for a while in that environment. In those cases, I don't want Vim cause error, and I want Vim to work just by copying vimrc into the environment. To do that, my vimrc is composed of the two parts like this figure. The first half is pure Vim script part, which has only Vim itself configurations. The rest part is plugin part. And I set the checker at the head of plugin part to check plugin installed or not. If plugin doesn't exist, it terminates the loading vimrc immediately. The third policy is compatibility. The compatibility here means both Vim and NeoBeam works without the same vimrc. The reason is that I switch NeoBeam and Vim sometimes to use new features such as floating window, or a plugin which supports either Vim or NeoBeam. Also, NeoBeam specific options exist. We need to take care of them when we use original Vim. So how do I do it is also very easy. I just use has function like this example code. It returns 1 if NeoBeam and returns 0 otherwise. So and the last policy is to put everything into one file. The main reason is just I prefer this style. And to find something is very easy. So how do I do it is also very, very simple. I just put the all config into one vimrc file. And to find something, I have used denied outline command provided by denied nvim, like this screen record. Also, a simple search command works well. Next, I picked up 5 configs from my vimrc. First one is the reader key is space in my Vim. It is used as default mapping for many plugins. And the reason is that it is easy to press. So the default reader key is \, and it's too far from the home position. To do it, I just set the map reader variable like this small snippet. And next, to enable both number and the relative number config is one of my favorites. I can know how far from the current line easily from using this configuration. But it makes non-beamer confused sometimes. And usually, I disable it during pair programming. And then mapping is useful to reduce the time of operations. I will show you 5 mappings as the example. So I map reader W to write current buffer to file because I would like to save buffer after every input. And next, I map reader J and reader K to move between tabs because I use tabs heavily. And then to open help file easily, I map reader HH to open at buffer and reader HT to open at tab. So it's very useful when I would like to know something about Vim. So now I show you some mappings, but Vim provides 3 user interfaces, mapping and command and function. So we can execute features using them. But which interface should we use? What is difference? So it is, I think, operation speed and expressiveness. The operation speed means how easily we can input to use feature. And the expressiveness means how obvious what it can. So if the expressiveness is high, we can make the name understandable. Usually, we can name a long enough function name to a function, but a long mapping key is not practical. So the answer is very simple. If you use a feature, many times, please use mapping. And if you use a feature sometimes, just use command. Otherwise, use function. However, we have to use command or function if we would like to take argument because mapping cannot take argument. But actually, mapping and command are enough for almost operation interface, I think. Next is the example of extending an existing plugin. I create this command to analyze application logs easily and imitating a grep command. It opens a new buffer with filtering result from the current buffer. And it is based on capture vim plugin, which show command result on a new buffer. Next is an example of plugin combination. I combine defx and vim and vim choose win to open file at selected buffer easily. Usually, I open defx vim file at the most left, and vim choose win assist to open file from it. This combination is done by about 10 lines. So far I talk about my vim. Maybe you understand my vim is different from your vim, and you cannot use my vim, and I cannot use your vim. Next, I introduce how to grow vimRC, but it is not so special things maybe. It may be natural things for you if you have vimRC over 1,000 lines. The right figure is vimRC growing flowchart that I created for today. So I describe how to grow vimRC following this chart. The first step is writing codes and documents and notes, and it sounds clear to us. I think the purpose to vim use is to develop something for almost people. And during development, do you face some unhandy things? My answer is yes, of course. And for example, we cannot analyze something well, and we need many key input to do something. So these distract our attention from our work. And we have to notice the inconvenience. And to notice the inconvenience, the most basic and easy key point is don't repeat yourself rule. So when I notice unhandy things, but I ignore it temporarily because I would like to focus on current work. I think this it is right, I think. So completing work is good and important things. But what is not good thing? I think it is to forget what we want. If something distracts our attention, so we have to improve them later. Avoid forgetting what we want. The method is very simple. Let's take notes or share what you would like to do. And after finishing your work or when you have time, it is time to find solution. Vim has a long history. Maybe you can easily get almost answer. So also, as I already said, you can ask your colleagues on Slack or forwards on Twitter. For instance, there is a Vim channel in Kuiper Slack, and sometimes someone often share knowledge or ask something in that channel. So when you find a solution, of course, you will set up the config and plugins. I have seen some people just copy and paste the config from an article or someone's vimRC, and they may not understand what they do well. So could you describe what the almost part of your vimRC do? I can. Because the reason why I can do it is that I just read a document when I set up. So Vim itself has well documented. So you can know, also, you can know related config from some documents. Similarly, many plugin has document, and it's also referred via help command. I recommend checking the interface such as command, mapping, and function before installing and using plugin. So I talked about when you find a solution so far. And then I will talk about the cases you cannot find. So there are no config and plugins, and the interface does not fit the use case. For this kind of reason, we don't get satisfied often. So it's a chance to grow vimRC. I recommend writing to them or into vimRC at first. So that almost case, you weren't just setting a few variables or changing mapping, I think. Sometimes you'd like to extend or combine existing plugin I showed already. After you write something, and please keep dogfooding and improving. After that, you will want to improve it or add new feature more. And then here, I will introduce a few useful tips for writing and improving your vim-rc quickly. I like this mapping, leader EV. The EV is shorthands of edit vim-rc. And the second one is the command to reload vim-rc after we edit vim-rc. Also, we have to use Git to manage vim-rc. Using Git and GitHub, as you know, we can edit and share your vim-rcs. So I have used .bot, which is .files manager, and I have used .bot for about 4 years. After writing Vim script, just back to writing code. So after you iterate this cycle, your vim-rc will be getting large. If your original script parts are large, you may be able to extract them as plugin. So Vim plugin comes from your vim-rc. At the last, I recommend cleaning up vim-rc every 6 months. Sometimes I found the unused setting and plugin in my vim-rc. I think pruning is necessary for vim-rc as well as plants. For cleaning up, holding a meetup is good practice because the purpose is clear. The purpose is just to clean up your vim-rc. And few times is best to be done, and good opportunity for share your knowledge with your colleagues or your friends. Okay, I will summarize this talk. What I would like you to take is optimizing Vim for yourself. So your Vim is only for you. So for optimizing, please find out your policy. It may be a part of what you want for Vim. Also, please keep improving and prepare tools to improve. And last, I recommend share your knowledge. I didn't discover everything I talked about today, so the output is important. And let's talk about your Vim with your friend or your colleagues. Yes, that's all my presentation. Thank you for your listening.